Right, so here we go, right? So they're saying, right, of these three clauses, three clauses. And what I think, that one thing that's making me smile at these three clauses when we get into them is that it really doesn't really say anything to do with whether they can. It does not explicitly. It does not say that they can charge you money in the ancient liberty of London, right? And what they extrapolate so much out of these clauses and claim that they can do it, which always makes me laugh at the right to petition, the 1688 Bill of Rights right to petition. The thing with that is it means a whole lot more than what it says, and you've got to use initiative to apply it. But what they do is they say, oh, it doesn't mean anything, right? Well, what I can say is if they're going to say that to me on the 1688 Bill of Rights, so it doesn't mean anything, right? Well, you can do that quite easily with all this here. These three clauses here don't really actually mean anything in regards to the liberty of London. But as in, it doesn't give them the right to do anything to it, actually, right? And I'll tell you why. So this first one, road user charging. 1. Each of the following bodies, namely, right? So they're not actually referring now to, I'll explain to you. They've said the following bodies that are listed, and you can see there is an A, B, and C, right? Now, those are organisations, bodies, so like, you know, a group, body, organisation, corporate, whatever. It is like in an entity, which is like either, you know, like you can have like a corporation, a charity, a church, a trust, whatever. But notice that is not they're not referring to the land, they're not referring to geography, they're not referring to any boundary, like, you know, the Boundary Commission with Jonathan Swift. They're not referring to a distance, they're not referring to 2 points from A to B, from, you know, the mouth of the Thames to, you know, Windsor. They're not referring to, you know, from, you know, King's Cross to Charing's Cross. It's actually the organisation, right, which is Transport for London. So, Transport for London, right? Transport for London is a governing body, right? But it's not the area of London. It's not the River of London. It refers to a organisation. You might as well say McDonald's, right? The following bodies. You might as well say McDonald's, KFC and Burger King, right? Has that got anything to do with an area of London, right? You could say McDonald's have restaurants all across London, right? Transport for London is in charge of the transport all around London. Or the mayor, you know, is responsible for looking after London, right? But he's responsible for looking after it, right? That's all. Any London Borough Council or the Common Council, any London Borough, so London boroughs, those are the ones around, right? But we still haven't actually defined the ancient City of London. Although the thing is, with the City of London Police have got an area, but you see, the City of London Police is a body. The Met Police are a body, and they police a certain area, right? But they only look after that area, right? And they can only operate within that area themselves. But so what? So what? The City of London Police are a police force, they're a body, right? And they operate within a different area to the Met Police, right? So what? Just means they're a body. So we haven't, right, so we know that you see, the Met Police are a body, right? And they operate in an area. But so does the Mayor of London. And in fact, the Mayor of London operates in the same area as the Met Police and the City of London Police. But so what? And actually, the Parliament operates the whole country, which also is within that area as well. Whoop-de-doo. It's almost like a game of slaps. In fact, you've got the Met Police and the Mayor of London and Parliament operating in the same area, which overlaps because, Parliament has jurisdiction over all of England, including London, for legislation. The police are a body which have responsibility for law and order, and guess what? There's a Mayor of London who is looking after London. So you could be stood on a pavement in London with about 8 different bodies governing that bit of pavement, all for different things. So what? Right? So that first bit, right, it says, they may establish and operate schemes for imposing charges in respect of the keeping or use of motor vehicles. Right? Or roads. On roads in its area, right? So it's here now, it's saying in law that they are given consent or permission to establish and operate schemes that impose charge in respect of the keeping or use of the use of motor vehicles on roads in its area. Well, road tax does that, although you're actually paying for the road itself to be maintained. You're not actually paying, well, if you pay your road tax, then you've got a right to use the road of the whole country, right? In its areas. Well, what is its areas? This is the thing. Transport for London, right, has a certain area. And certain London Borough Councils do. Now, all of the London Borough Councils aren't necessarily in that Liberty of London or the Common Council. And Transport for London, right, its area includes an area of London which is a lot larger and additional to that Liberty of London, right? So when it says that it's allowed to impose in its areas, right, that Magna Carta, Ancient Liberty of London, right, if that is in effect, it doesn't stop Transport for London imposing charges in its areas, but it stops it from charging it in that part of its area, for sure, right? It's almost kind of like having a chessboard, right? And if you, like, you've got like white squares and black squares, right? You could say that there's an ancient law, right, that says that you can't charge penalty, you can't charge any chess piece from being on a black square, right? If you have a chess piece that lands on a black square, you can never be charged for it, right? And that is like an ancient law, and you don't repeal it. Then, right, you write a law that says the governor of a chessboard, who is responsible for the whole board, right, the entire chessboard, may apply charges to the area that he looks after, which is the entire chessboard, right? But if there's a law saying that you can never charge anyone being on black squares, then he's governing the whole area of the chessboard, and he's allowed to put charges. He says, right, charges are now permissible, right, in the area that you govern. Well, he governs the whole board, and that means that he can put them on the white pieces because he governs the white pieces, and all of the white pieces are in the area that he governs. So he now is allowed to put charges, right, and he can put charges there. But the ancient law says that you can't put them on the black squares. No one can. So it's but before that, there wasn't anything saying that you may charge. So it's like he's saying that now you can charge. So within that square. Well, all of the black and white pieces were in the square, but there's a special law saying that you can't do that. So and notice in chess, all the different pieces have got very strange different moves, right? So when you play the rules of chess, right, pawns can go one square, the horse goes like 2 forward and 1 to the side or whatever, bishops go diagonal, right? When you say, right, you can move the pieces, right, you say, right, you're allowed to play a game of chess. Here's a board. This is the area that you govern. You may play. You may now move the pieces. That's like saying you may now charge vehicles, right? You may now charge vehicles. You may now move chess pieces, right? But how do you move the chess pieces? Well, castles can only move horizontal and diagonal. Castles can only move forwards and backwards or left and right. And then, queens can move any direction. Kings can only move one space. But, like, you say, oh, well, but now you can play the game, you can move the pieces. Well, we know we can move the pieces, but there are rules. There are rules to this whole game, These pieces can only move certain places, right? So, even though they've said, right, now you may, play chess on this board, we'll let you play, we'll let you move around. You can now move, right? Doesn't mean they say you can do what you want, because there are all these different rules for these different pieces in place, which are, as I say in soccer or whatever, fixed pieces, right? So, this is really like the congestion charge, because they don't now, Sadiq or Ken Livingston, you now can, we're going to let you put charges in, right? All right, you can start charging people. But the thing is, the Ancient Liberty of London says that you can't charge people in this little particular certain area, right? It's just like saying certain chess pieces can only move certain moves, right? But we're going to let you move them, and you're going to have governance over all the different moves within this area of the board. But there is a rule, by the way, as if you knew, that you can't, put them on certain squares. This is the thing. Now we're going to the second one. So really, that body is just all it says. All that governing body is just like, there's a big hand comes out of the sky. There's now a governing body that moves pieces of chess, and we're going to allow you to move them. Well, so what? These different chess pieces have got different particular rules for each of them, Well, they can't be charged on certain squares. So this is the thing, but, So, Schedule 23 to this Act, which makes provisions supplement in this section, shall have effect. Right, so Schedule 23 has got all the terms and definitions, right? So it's saying that the Schedule 23 to this Act, which makes provisions supplement in this section, shall have effect. So what it does is it says, in this Act, this means this, that means that, that means that. Like, what does charge mean? What does the word charge mean? And so forth, right? Which it's quite a long schedule, but I've had a quick look at it. We'll have to do another video on that, but I don't think that affects this, because it's just a schedule for definitions and terms and meanings. And then this is the last bit, really. Right? Number 3. And at no point yet has it said that they are specifically giving them consent to charge people within that ancient city of London area. It just says there now may be charges in existence, but it doesn't say that, where, though. It says that in the area that you govern, I mean, it's not going to say to the Mayor of London that, you now may charge, in, any area or whatever, or Kent, because he's not in charge of Kent, is he? That's the thing. He's the Mayor of London. He's the Mayor of London who governs London and can charge in and around the boroughs and areas of London, except in the ancient city area, of which is prohibited in law. And also, actually, in the Great Charters, which cannot be overridden. Number 3, anyway. For the purposes of this section and that schedule, so that's the above schedule, I would have thought 23, motor vehicle has the meaning given in section 185.1 of the 1988 Road Traffic Act, except that section 189 of the Act, exception for certain pedestrian controlled vehicles and electronically assisted pedestrian cycles, shall apply for those purposes. So that's just meanings and definitions. So really, there's hardly anything there. And they've based an entire London congestion charge on this, and they haven't even repealed that Magna Carta clause, that just blew my mind. Basically, so how it's been legislated, this is the entire congestion charge on just this little clause. It's almost like survivor the subjects to petition the king, and all prosecutions for doing so are illegal. And the police go, that means nothing. It doesn't mean anything. It applies to nothing. It means nothing. It's bollocks. It's bollocks. It's all bollocks. You can't base an entire presumption that you can charge around the country, writing an affidavit out and give yourself warrant to do whatever you want in the jurisdiction of Parliament in order to get evidence and show off the government a strong case for the corruption of the entire police force, break doors down into police stations based on one line of legislation. Can you? Who do you think you are? Don't say anything like that. Well, what the fuck's this? Nothing. It's nothing. It means nothing. It's nothing. It says nothing. It means sweet fuck all. It means, right, there is a body, the Transport for London. Each of the following bodies, namely the Transport for London, the London Borough Council and the Common Council, may establish and operate schemes for imposing charges in respect of the keeping and use of vehicles in its area. Well, it's shared area. What about Met Police? Can the Met Police impose charges? And what about MI5? And what about all those Ulez cameras being linked up to security services for monitoring? It doesn't give them consent to use the same cameras. Does it say that they can share the cameras between departments and organisations? And can the police charge people for Ulez? Probably not. And what about the courts and tribunals? Can they charge people? Or I suppose they're just recovering it for someone who hasn't paid up, debt to the king. Transport for London. This might as well say, right, each of the following bodies, namely the Met Police, McDonald's and KFC, may establish and operate schemes for imposing charges. And you see, I don't even think that McDonald's would be able to charge you for a drive-through, to drive through their drive-through. You might as well say McDonald's. And can you imagine, right, if it was McDonald's? Do you know what this is like? Do you know what this actually says? It's if McDonald's, right, if Sadiq Khan owned a chain of restaurants called McDonald's, and he owned them all across London and beyond, you know, like within the M25, right? Like, you know, like within the M25 for the Dartford Crossing or whatever, and Croydon and that, right? And if he said, like, and if Sadiq Khan had, like, you know, like thousands of them all within the M25, and like he put a toll bar on the McDonald's, so you to drive through it and around it, it's like £1, right? You might as well say here that Ronald McDonald, Hamburglar, and the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, may charge people for driving through their McDonald's within the area that they govern, right? Well, they govern the whole area, right? So they're allowed to charge it, but there's another law that says you can't charge it within this particular area. This particular area you can't, right? Which is the ancient Liberty of London, which is a part of the city, right? But he governs, his area that he governs is through and beyond that. It's like a part of the area he governs, you know, like chess pieces, like little squares on a board, right? So it's like, you know, he would be able to charge you. It's correct that he can charge you now in within the area he governs, right? But not in all of the area he governs, right? Not in all of it. And now he's wanting to put charges on the Blackwall Tunnel, which is just a little bit outside the Liberty of London, where those other tolls were. So, you know, but the thing is, he's broke the law. I mean, would you want anyone in government who's corrupt, and if they don't even know what the law is, then they should do. And then what even about this act? So this act is not saying that you can charge people in the ancient Liberty of London. It's just saying that there can be some charges. The mayor has the power to give charges, right? You know, within you know, some parts of the area that he governs, but it doesn't actually, you know, it's there are other laws in place. It's a little bit like, right. Another example how you could say this is like, it's like saying the police may arrest people for crimes within London area. The Met Police, you might as well say like the Met Police are now may arrest people within London, right? The area they govern. But remember, they can't arrest people under the age of 12 because that's the law. There's another law, right? So you can't make effectively, right? You know, if you say, you know, the Met Police now have powers to perform arrests within London, right? Well, so what? You know, you can't arrest children under 16. Well, that's like the Liberty of London, you know? Oh, the mayor may charge vehicles for using the roads within London. Well, yeah, upset the Liberty of London because, you know, you can't put it there because the Magna Carta are ancient liberties. So it's like little children, you know, it's like little children can't be arrested. It's like, you know, the ancient Liberty of London can't be fined. You got to see it like that, you know. But that's not to say that they can't, you know, arrest people within the whole London area of London that they govern. Just that, you know, there's a threshold, isn't there? It's like, you know, because there are other laws in place. You know, no one under a certain age can be arrested, because that's in a different act, isn't it? It's in a different law. And this is the thing with this. There's a different act in a different law saying that you can't charge within a certain area, right? From what I gather. So this is... It's very, this is the only thing in here that seems to be given the power. Now, I'll check that schedule and the meanings, but I don't think those meanings really mean that much. It's just like, what does motor vehicle mean, or what does charge mean? Charge means the same as in this act or that act or whatever, but there's quite a lot in that. I'll have to go through it tomorrow, but there's quite a lot in there. But this is just a general briefing of it,